Hi, I'm Brett Johnson, former United States most wanted cybercriminal turned good guy, host of the Brett Johnson Show. Today's not a Brett Johnson show. Today's just a little short talking about the new Styx marketplace that's across all the cybersecurity channels, all the rage on LinkedIn, all this other stuff. People are talking about how there's a brand new marketplace that's popped up, and it looks to be taking the place of all the financial cybercrime channels that are out there. So I thought, hey, somebody needs to take a tour of this and look at it. But something more important popped up along the way. And that thing that's more important, well, let's just talk about the what I'm calling this episode. Styx Marketplace, a tour, or how to spot a fake marketplace. So let's just dive right in. So, as I said, I woke up today and I signed on to my LinkedIn, and I immediately started to see all these posts talking about the Styx marketplace. Oh my gosh, you got Styx. Resecurity has identified the newly launched Styx marketplace in the cybercrime underground, which focuses primarily on financial fraud, money laundering, and identity theft. And I saw a lot, and I mean a lot, of my peers on LinkedIn were talking about Styx. So I was like, wow, man, I've not heard of this. Why have I, the original Internet Godfather, not heard of Styx Marketplace? Because it sounds amazing. So I started to look around, and I found an article from Bleeping Computer. So we're going to walk through some of this article. We're going to go over to Styx Marketplace. We're going to talk about it. We're going to show you how you start to identify whether a marketplace is real or not. Now, here's what's important. I'm going to stop sharing because, hey, I like my pretty face on screen every now and then. I am a former cybercriminal. Not only a former cybercriminal, but I'm responsible for laying the groundwork of a lot of the financial cybercrime that goes on today. I know my shit. I know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not the only person that knows this. There are other people that's out there. Albert Gonzalez gets out of prison in a few weeks. He knows what he's talking about. John Giannone knows what he's talking about. Cal Leamy knows what he's talking about. There's a whole lot of people out there that like to pretend that they understand cybercrime environments, or they like to say they used to be criminals, and they're simply not. So I just want you guys to know, please bear that in mind when you start to read some of these articles or about new marketplaces, new criminal techniques, things like that. Understand who's saying it. Take it with a grain of salt. I talk all the time about trust but verify. It's important to verify these things. And this story about Styx Marketplace is absolutely one of these things that should have been verified. So we're talking about the Bleeping Computer article right now. We're going to go over some of that. Sharing screen so everybody can see the article. Title of the article, New Darkweb Market Styx focuses on financial fraud services. Okay, groovy. A new dark web marketplace called Styx launched earlier this year and appears to be on its way to becoming a thriving hub for buying and selling illegal services or stolen data. Okay, I got you. It's not like criminals don't need that shit. They do. We go on. Among the services provided are money laundering, identity theft, DDoS, bypassing two-factor authentication, fake or stolen IDs, other personal data, renting malware, using cash-out services, email and telephone flooding, identity lookup, and much more. My God, it's like a Christmas marketplace for cybercrime. If I were still the guy that I used to be, I would be so happy and giddy. Moving right along, then, here's a snapshot of the Styx marketplace. It says the marketplace opened its doors officially on January 19th, and it uses built-in escrow system to broker transactions between buyers and sellers. However, I want to highlight this because this is kind of neat. However, analysts at threat intelligence company Resecurity noticed mentions of Styx on the dark web since early 2022, when founders were still building the escrow module. That got my attention because here's what I know. You see, the dark web, there's a couple of things that's going on the dark web, and it's been going on for a while. Back in 2017, Alphabet was the largest criminal network on the planet. It gets shut down by federal law enforcement, actually worldwide law enforcement. The owner of that, Alexander Kazaa, he's arrested in Thailand. He promptly hangs himself. All right. That caused a lot of paranoia among the cyber criminals that are on the dark web using .onion addresses. Now, I say that because the dark web, the definition of the dark web has kind of morphed over the past few years to include things like Telegram, Wicker, things like that. All right. But when you're referring to dark web, you typically refer to .onion addresses. When you're referring to marketplaces, you always are referring to .onion addresses. And I'm going to explain why in just a couple of minutes. So they said that ReSecurity noticed chatter on the dark web since early 2022. So here's what I know about chatter on the dark web. What happens with Alphabet, why I referenced that, Alphabet gets shut down. Law enforcement worldwide then direct all of these criminals that were up in arms that didn't know where to go, where to conduct business, where to buy their drugs or their stolen credit cards from. They directed over to another marketplace called Hansa Market. 2 weeks later, federal authorities announced that, hey, we shut down Hansa Market too. That's right, we got them. Well, that caused such chaos among dark web criminals that they really didn't know where the hell to go. So a lot of them thought that, hey, law enforcement's got an exploit. They're able to identify who's using the dark web, who's on Tor. Really wasn't the case. The problem with Tor is if you don't know how to use it properly, you're kind of screwed. Not only that, but criminals talk a lot and they make a lot of mistakes when they get started. And that's how Alexander Kazaa and all these other guys tend to get caught. So that being said, most of these cyber criminals, they started to go to the mainstream, up to the surface web. They started to use smaller and smaller encrypted messaging channels like Signal, like WhatsApp, like Telegram, like Wicker, things like that, okay? So that's what happened. A lot of cyber criminals went over to Reddit, where they set up subreddits talking about drug trafficking, talking about fraud, talking about the dark net, and Reddit let that go for a while, for well over a year. Why? Well, because all these cyber criminals were talking about all that stuff. They were exposing their IPs and everything else, and law enforcement was able to get a lot of data on that. So Reddit let it go until finally Reddit pulled the plug, started shutting these groups down. What happened is there was a cyber criminal at that point. His name was Hugbunter. He got upset that they were shutting down the Reddit subreddit. So he decides to go off and create the Reddit of the dark web. It was called Dread. Today, Dread is the Reddit of the dark web. It is the centralized communication channel of a lot of criminal discussions, networking, opportunities, talking about crimes, talking about everything else. From drug trafficking to financial fraud, whatever you want to talk about criminal-wise is on Dread. They don't allow child porn or stuff like that. But financial fraud, drugs, you go to Dread to get your information. So when I read that ReSecurity had noticed that chatter, where do I go? Well, shit, I want to find out where the Styx market is. I want the URL for that. So I go over to the dark web. Oh, I've shut it down. We're going to open it right back up and talk about the dark web. All right, so I'm going to pause this because I don't want to run out of time. I want this to be a short video. So we'll be back in just a second with the dark web pulled up. All right, so we are back. I pulled up the Onion router, the Tor browser, everything else. We're going to go ahead and share screen so that we can have a talk about all of these things that's going on today. All right, so we're sharing screen. So we are now on dark.fail. I'm using the Tor browser, but I've accessed dark.fail. So dark.fail is a site you go to. They have a .onion site. They have a service website as well. It's a site you go to find out which channels are alive and which ones are real. So you have a lot on the dark web talking .onion dark web. On the dark web, you have a lot of channels that are spoofed because you've got a lot of criminals that are out there that are looking to steal from other criminals. So you tend to use a verified list of links to go to. And one of the places you go is dark.fail. That's one of the primary places you go. This guy makes sure that, hey, the links are real, they're ready. He's got them all updated constantly in real time, whether they're up, whether the site is up or down, everything else. And he's got them listed here. So we go through and I'm like, okay, so Styx Marketplace. It's on the dark web. we can find out what the URL is from dark.fail. So I go to dark.fail, and there's a funny thing. Styx isn't listed there. It lists Dread because Dread is the most important communication channel on .onion addresses, on cybercrime environments on the dark web. It's Dread. So it lists Dread. Dread's alive today. That's good. List Recon, Libra Forum, CryptBB, Kilos. Here's some marketplaces. Kilos is offline right now. ASAP Market, it's online. Archetype, Incognito, Tor to Door. Alphabet is offline because, well, they're busy exit scamming. Bohemia Market, exploit.in. I mean, all these things, but you know, one thing it doesn't mention, they even list the Pornhub. Yes, Pornhub has a .onion address. So it lists all this stuff, but what it doesn't list is Styx Marketplace, which is interesting. And the reason why that is interesting, when you're starting up a brand new market, you know, you're looking to make money. You're not starting to market just because of goodwill, because you're trying to make every cyber criminal and druggie on the planet happy. You're starting up a marketplace because you're looking to pocket cash. When you do that, you're going to notify the channels that are out there. You're going to notify dark.fail. You're going to notify some of these other channels that list the links of the real channels that are out there, because you want your name out there as soon as you can get it out there. You're going to start talking about it on Dread, because Dread is the #1 dark web communication channel on the planet. If you've got something new that's going on, you're going to start talking about it on Dread. You want to be vetted. You want to be verified. So I went over to Dread. I searched for Styx Marketplace. And a funny thing happened along the way. What happened along the way was somebody, so it says this is 3 hours ago. Somebody saw the cybersecurity news, the resecurity report, the bleeping computer stuff, the stuff that was on LinkedIn. They saw that about Styx Marketplace, and they're like, well, hell, man, I want to go and visit it too. So probably they went to dark.fail and said, hey, it's not listed. Then they went to some other channels that list links too. They found out, hey, it's not listed on any of those other channels either. That's odd for a dark web marketplace. So then they said, well, is Dread up? And it is. So they went over to Dread and they posted saying, hey, Styx Marketplace onion link. Basically, can I get it? A funny thing happened. Hug Bunter, who really doesn't respond to a lot of stuff. Hug Bunter comes in and he responds to it. He says, never heard of it. So it's either extremely new or a scam. Try to stick to the established markets in our super list. And he says, I've removed your post as this can be used to skirt around the market promotion rules they have in place in the darknet market sub. So I went over to the super list. All right. And Hug Bunter has listed all of the real markets that are on the dark web. And you can see them right here. Tor to Door, Tors, White House Market, Monopoly, Cypher Versus, Dark Code Reborn, ASAP. He's got them all listed right there. You know what he doesn't have? He does not have Styx. Now that's interesting to me, because if I go back to the bleeping computer and the resecurity report, see, I've still got it highlighted right here. It says, analysts at threat intelligence company Resecurity noticed mentions of Styx on the dark web since early 2022. Let me tell you, they didn't. They didn't. Never happened. Where are those mentions? They're not on Dread. They're not on Dread at all. Well, if you continue to read down the article that Bleeping Security has posted, it says, and if we continue here, Styx supports payments with multiple cryptocurrencies. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Then it goes in, it shows some screenshots from Styx. And where is that mention? What it says is it says that right here, to showcase the purchasing process, the market points to Telegram channels where bots interact with buyers and provide samples of the products sold. That also got my attention. Here's why. Trust on Telegram works much differently than trust on the traditional dark web. On the traditional dark web, see, I'm the son of a bitch that built that trust mechanism. The way trust works on the dark web is you have a large communication channel, typically a forum type structure where individuals from different time zones can reference conversations days, weeks, months old, take part in those conversations, learn from those conversations. You know by looking at someone's screen name what the skill level of that person is. If you can trust that person, if you can network with that person, if you can learn from that person. There are vouching systems in place, escrow systems in place, review systems in place, all with the singular purpose of establishing trust with one criminal and another. And that trust on the traditional dark web, talking .onion addresses, that trust is something that is persistent and long-lasting. On Telegram, trust does not work that way. On Telegram, trust works through the rapport of the other Telegram users. It is a very fluid and flimsy degree of trust. That's why on Telegram, typically about 70% of every single advertisement talking about selling accounts or credit cards or services, about 70% are fake. They're false. They're not real. They're simply other criminals who are advertising those things to scam other criminals. That's what happens. So when they say, hey, Styx operates through Telegram, boy, does that send the flags up a flying real big right there. That doesn't mean it couldn't be legitimate, all right? But here's the thing about these channels. In order for that channel to pop up, it needs a degree of legitimacy somewhere, all right? So what I did was, we're going to go over to Telegram. So I immediately went over to Telegram because, yeah, I'm on Telegram too. I'm on Telegram all the time. So I went over to Telegram. I did a keyword search for Styx. None of the traditional or the big Telegram channels, the Darknet channel, the AIO channel, none of those channels know anything or are vouching for Styx at all. So you do a keyword for Styx and you come up with Styx links, and it lists, oh, okay, so hell, they've got 1,556 subscribers. No, they don't. They've actually got 556 subscribers, and a lot of those have shown up today after reading the articles. That one is a fake one. Yeah, it's not really 1,500 subscribers at all. You see, you could, when you set up a Telegram channel, you can fake the amount of subscribers. So what this person has done is they've made it look like there's 1,500 subscribers, but there's only 556. Now, what's interesting is it's got the links to the marketplace, to the trusted sellers, to the escrow, to the news, and it's got Styx chat. And it's in Russian. Okay, the Russians know what they're doing, right? Of course they do. So you click on the Styx Market, and it takes you to styxmarket.com. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And why that's interesting is you've got what they're advertising as a dark web market. First of all, it's not a dark web market. It's a surface web market. Someone actually went out and bought the domain to styxmarket.com. They bought it from GoDaddy or Namecheap or some bullshit like that. They bought that. That's your first red flag right there, that it is not a real dark web market. Hell, it's not even a Styx channel. It's a real surface web website, all right? So then we go to the marketplace itself. Registering it is extremely easy. One of the things that you see, let me talk to you for a second about how you operate a market in today's world, because you've got security professionals out there, because you've got phishing, you've got criminals that are trying to fish out other criminals, you've got spoof channels, you've got law enforcement that's trying to arrest everybody at the same time. It's chaotic. You have to know what you're doing. When you build a market today, you're going to make sure that everything's secure. When you register an account, what you're going to do is you're going to require the people who are registering to have PGP keys, because you want their messages to each other encrypted. You don't want plain text messages on your channel, because if your server gets compromised, if law enforcement gets that box, they've got all of those messages in plain text. So you make your members register PGP keys. That's standard practice these days. Not only that, but the market owners have their PGP keys available as well. That's standard operational security. That's what you do. Guess what? Styx don't do nothing like that. Styx, again, a surface website, which is a big no-no. You don't do that. You absolutely do not do that. You go .onion, or at the worst, you go with a Telegram channel that's a marketplace, okay? Styx doesn't do that. Styx doesn't have any PGP keys. When you register an account on Styx, you are not required to input any PGP keys as well. It is a very flimsy site with very poor security. So then we start looking at, so where can you chat? Oh, okay. So there's no communication channel set up on Styx at all. Instead, they've got a bunch of links here about different stuff that you can buy from them. For example, you can come down here and here's 103 crypto accounts selling for $1,600. You get 15 Bybit, you get OKX, you get KuCoin, you get all this stuff. You can go down here if you want to look up services. You can have somebody's complete background check done for $20. Binance KYC. So you want to open up a Binance account so you can launder money through it. We'll charge you $45 to do that. That's not a bad price at all. There's virtual cameras. There's the business lounge. So say you're flying someplace and you're on Spirit Air or whatever, and you want to go over and sit down in, I don't know, whatever expensive airlines first class lounge. Well, you can pay this guy $100 and he'll get you in that lounge. There's transfer services. So that's basically Uber services. eSIMs, you can do that. There's hotels at 50% off. There's flights and vacations at 50% off. So they tell you to go over to TripAdvisor or get your guide and book it from there. There's air tickets at 50% off. There's spoofing services. There is Fools. So you can get, they're selling Fools. Fools is a complete identity profile. So for $180, they're saying they'll give you the IP, the first name, last name, social, date of birth, driver's license, address, city, blah, 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 all the way down. Okay. There's a pack 3. You get 100,000 Fools for $50. Boy, that's a good deal for that. So you get all that. They actually advertise any number of things that you might want to get. There's crypto mixing services in case you want to tumble and launder your money, make it where law enforcement can't track you. Voice over IP numbers, rent number. I mean, geez, they've got all kinds of stuff. There's DDoS right there. Let's see what we got. Styx Market. And we take it over. Oh, there's the credit card bit. That's pretty. So we've got all of that. All right, let's go back up to the main page here. So going back to the main page, you want to see who the trusted sellers are. This is who Styx Market advertises as, hey, these guys are trusted. You can do business with these people and not have to worry about getting ripped off. Well, man, I sure am glad they've got that. Then they've got the auto escrow site, where because Styx handles its own escrow, you just send the money to Styx and they'll hold it for you and everything will be just fine. And then, of course, they've got the news site where they've got links to all the different news things, which looks to be, I don't know, crap. Here's the thing. There's absolutely no chatter except on Telegram about Styx Market. Hug Bunter, who you don't get any higher up than that, on Dread, which you don't get a better communication channel than that, knows absolutely nothing about Styx Market. There's no PGP keys in place. The registration process is in place. It's a surface website, not a dark website. The only chatter that you're seeing about it is through Resecurity and Bleeping Computer and the people who have picked up on that from there. So what do I call this? I call this bullshit. Nobody in their right mind, no criminal in their right mind is going to fall for this. All right. The chances of this being just a fraudulent site, a site built strictly to scam other criminals, is near 100%. I say near because, hey, there's a slight possibility that it's not a scam. But the fact that it's on the surface web, probably not. The fact that they don't require PGP keys, probably not. The fact that it's not listed on any of the trusted websites that tell you which marketplaces are operational and can be trusted, that's a huge red flag. The fact that Hug Bunter himself comes out and comments on it, that, hey, it's likely a scam, another huge red flag. I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you see news about criminal products, services, websites, platforms, etc., it's important to realize who's talking about them. Does the person who's posting the story, who's referencing the techniques, the criminals, the pages, the products, everything else, do they know what they're talking about? In this case, it appears that they absolutely do not. You want to know how you identify a fake marketplace? You start by verifying. Is it real? You don't just take a news source or a security company's report that, hey, this stuff is going on. That doesn't mean anything if the security company that's doing the report doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. In this case, they do not know what they're talking about. They're referencing conversations. They said, hey, Styx was talking about this stuff on the dark web in early 2022. No, they weren't. I did a Styx search on the criminal forums on the dark web. Now, there may be some mention somewhere, but the largest communication channel on the planet, Dread, some of the other forums that were around, Dread had 7 references to Styx. 2 of those references were talking about Styx, the rock band. The other references were Styx, the marketplace, and those were today that those references popped up. There was nothing from 2022 or before. And the only response from that was, hey, it looks like it's not even real. All right. Be aware of that. Know who's talking. Share it from there. Understanding that just because something is on Telegram, just because somebody has a web page, does not make it real. We understand that when we're talking about, hey, watch out for these criminals. They're putting up spoofed company websites in order to rip people off. Well, guess what? Criminals do that to rip other criminals off as well. If I can convince you that I'm selling stolen credit cards and get your money, that's good. All right, so the way this all wraps up is after I made the main recording, I decided I would go back onto the Styx chat channel on Telegram and basically call them out. And that's exactly what I did. I went on there, called them out, and we proceeded to have a discussion, which you see sped up on the video in front of you. So we had a discussion. I said, hey, it's a scam. I had the admin starting to respond. We're not a scam. Why do you think we're a scam? And I walked through exactly what I've walked through in this video. You've got a .com site. You don't have a .onion site. No one who is worth anything in this business has ever heard of you. The only chatter that's around is on the news sites and the security reports that are mentioning you today and over the past few days. That's the only chatter that's out there. I did have an admin respond that, hey, we've been around for 6 years. We're just simply rebranding from Get Hacked, which I called bullshit on that. If you've been around for 6 years, you know how this stuff operates. You know that a .com domain is not secure for your type of criminal business, to which they responded, oh, it's more expensive. It's absolutely more secure. So they absolutely don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just throwing out a bunch of bullshit. The one admin said 6 years old. Another admin pops in not 3-4 minutes later and says, hey, there's a reason that there's no chatter about us whatsoever, that Hug Bunter and Dread and none of these platforms or, the dark web websites that verify channels and stuff. There's a reason for that. And it's that we've only been around for a month. So they couldn't decide whether they've been around for 30 days or been around for 6 years. So huge red flags about that. So I started calling them out. I walked them through every problem that I had. You guys don't have PGP. You don't have any security. You don't have any communication channels. The numbers are pumped up, so you've been lying about that. They didn't necessarily deny that. A couple of looks like the mods and the admins that came in, a couple of those actually kind of supported that, saying, hey, don't burst their bubble. Hey, it's okay. You're talking about stuff like that. So end of the day, I kept going on. I sent them a nice little video because they asked me to verify that I was Brett Johnson. I sent them a nice little video as well. So I ended up getting blocked. Of course I did, because they said, if you keep saying that we're a scam, we're going to block you. So I ended up getting blocked. Not a big deal. That's what happened. I did not let it lay at that. I also went over to AIO, asked some questions. No one had ever heard of these guys whatsoever, which is pretty big. I went to the darknet channels on Telegram. No one had ever heard of them as well. So please understand that brand new market pops up, set up completely incorrectly on a .com domain. The chances of that being scammed near 100%, but I wanted to go a little bit further. So what I actually did was I went back to the Styx market. I funded my Styx account with Bitcoin from my Coinbase account, and I started to look for what I could purchase or try to purchase on the Styx market that might be sent to me. And what I found was for $25, I found a set of business fools, 5 business fools for $25. Not a bad gig, $5 a piece. Now, business fools, that consists of the complete business identity and the identity of the person that owns that specific business. So I funded the account, sent the money over. Guess what? Yes, I did get 5 business fools, but there's always a caveat. The caveat was the information that was sent over. Back when I was a criminal, I would have said, hey, this is bullshit. What are you selling? So that's exactly what I'm calling here. The business fools that I got, they're there, but it's very skimpy data. The information, the people that are being targeted are really worth nothing to a criminal. You might make a few dollars, but you're not going to profit really anything at all. They're pretty useless as far as that goes. So what I'm calling right now is I'm calling a marketplace that on the low end, they'll deliver so on a regular darknet market, you've got bullshit sellers. You've got sellers that will deliver, tutorials that they've scraped or stolen from someplace. They'll deliver credit card numbers that are dead or useless. They'll deliver fools like this, like these business fools that really, hey, yeah, I delivered you something, but it's really not really worth a friggin' thing. I was about to say fucking thing, but I decided to hold my tongue and not to curse. But yeah, that's what I got in return for my $25, and it's pretty much what I expected. So what I'm saying is going on with Styx Marketplace is on the low level, the tutorials, the fools. You're getting bullshit on that. All right, they're going to deliver, but you're getting bullshit on that. On the high end, so we're talking about credit card. Well, even the credit card's probably going to be, if you get any, it's going to be bullshit. But on the high end, the money laundering services, things like that, as soon as you send them money or give them access to that, or God help you, you want them to tumble and launder some Bitcoin or some sort of tokens for you, you're not going to get it. I actually went through and decoded. I'm not a Cyrillic reader, but I was going through this. Most of the conversations on the Styx channel are Cyrillic, so I was translating a lot of the Cyrillic conversations. The chatter that's on that specific channel, and yes, it only goes back a month. The chatter that's on that specific channel is very low. It's not very sophisticated at all. It's bullshit chatter. You do have some outside members that are coming in because they've been reading the news reports. You've got some outside members that are coming in that are asking questions. Those questions are typically not being answered at all. Most of the members, of course, the chat channel advertises that it's got 13,000 plus members. That's, again, a pumped up number. I told you how that was done earlier. That's a pumped up number. When the channel was created, there's under 1,000 actual members there, and most of those are bots. So, end of the day, this is how you recognize a fake marketplace or a scam marketplace, is how you recognize that. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that you've got research companies, that you've got tech news services that report on stuff like this, but they don't really verify or go into anything at all. So they're coming up saying, hey, this is a brand new marketplace. It's taking everything by storm. It's the top tier of what cyber criminals are looking at and doing. Absolutely not. My name is Brett Johnson. This is Brett Johnson Show. It turns out this is show length. I didn't know it was going to be, but hey, it's a good one. My name is Brett Johnson. What do we say? Stay safe, stay secure, stay vigilant, trust, but verify. Make sure before you take someone's word for something that you know what their skill level is. We've got a lot of fake criminals out there. We've got a lot of people that like to think that they understand the criminal mindset and the criminal dynamics and the criminal environments, and they simply do not. So make sure you know you're listening to someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. I am one of those, at least in this environment. So I'm Brett Johnson. What do we say? Stay safe, stay secure, stay vigilant, and at the end of the day, just do the right damn thing. Thank you for listening. Until next time.